Hello, everyone, and welcome to this very special episode of The Real Beef. I'm your host, Don Keith, and the reason it's such a special episode is because I'm here with my great friend, Tommy Robinson. Mr. Robinson.
Don, thank you, bro.
Oh, absolutely, man. So we're right here back where we started a year and a half ago, me and you, huh?
We're in the Bahamas. I want to point out it's 4 a.m. I've been out of jail 10 days. I went 100 mile an hour every day to get my documentary made. Went to court. I feel like I'm about to hit a brick wall. So
Yeah.
shattered, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, at least we're in the Bahamas.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So now I want to ask you, were you really in prison or did you get scurried off to Israel and some psyop working for Mossad?
Argentina.
Oh, so it was Argentina. Did you see Hitler? Was Hitler there?
Because, do you know why someone sent me an email? Because you get emails in there. And it just said, reply to this email so I know you're not in Tel Aviv. And then I saw some conspiracy website when I got my hair cut. And they were looking through when I got my hair cut and said I had a tan. And then they're saying he wasn't in jail. They actually believe he wasn't in jail.
Yeah.
Which, if they believe that, they mean that every person that comes to prison to do a video outside, everyone, they're all actors as well. I find all that mad.
Yeah, there's a lot of conspiracy theorists out there, but X is a great platform, but man,
I like to play into it sometimes.
What's that?
I like to play into
Oh, yeah, you're good at it.
To America, I wore the badge, I'm a Zionist.
Yeah.
I just thought, watch them go mad.
Yeah. I want to do something a little bit different here. I know whenever there's a hot topic involving you, you have a lot of prominent folks want you to come out and they want to ask you about it. I want to ask you about some of that stuff too, but I want to start off with, because I never hear a lot of people ask you about you, Tommy Robinson, the person, the man. What's he like? Because I think a lot of us who know you get to see you in a little bit different light than this. You have this fiery public persona, right? Larger than life. You're talking about politics, but there's another side of you that people don't really get to see. It's the Mr. Funny guy, the practical joker, likes to make everybody laugh. The guy who cares about his friends and his family. So I'm just ask you a couple of questions about that. And I guess my first question would be to you. You're 42 now, right?
42.
You're 42 years old. If you could have observed yourself outside of your body for the last 42 years from the third person, how would you describe Tommy Robinson? Who is he?
He's a lunatic.
Yeah. That's one opinion.
There's two. So there's Tommy Robinson and then there's Stephen Lennon. I'm Stephen Lennon.
Yeah.
And I always blame Tommy Robinson, at least with the ex-wife.
Yeah.
It was Tommy. And Tommy done it. So I obviously, when I step out of my house and certain people see me in politics, they see me as Tommy Robinson who talks about these things. But I'm Stephen Lennon, who was just a normal family man. I've got 3 children. I'm a normal lad from a working class town. And some people keep telling me to change that. I don't want to change that. That's who I am.
Right. And I've seen you with your family. You're a great dad. You're a great family guy. Aside from your family, I think that's the sort of the default answer of most people when you ask them what's most important to them in life is their family. But aside from your family, what would you say is most important to you in life?
Most important, friends. Do you know, I sat down, I've just done 7 months on solitary confinement. I sat down and wrote a list of my friends that I haven't seen enough. And I wrote a list of people that I should spend more time with. And in fact, I'll show you this, because my mate just messaged me. And I missed his kids. They do a baby shower now. They do a baby shower. And he sent me the invite. And I'll play you what I said.
I will be there, mate. Won't miss it like last time, bruv. So consumed in my own bullshit.
I missed everything, actually. Not just that. Do you know when I started the English Defence League, I started my activism, it takes over your life. It really, when you have a belief in something, it takes over your life. And then you neglect your family, you neglect your friends. And you've got to try and find a good mix. And in the end, with the English Defence League, I found after 2 years it took, don't talk about it in front of the family. No discussions. So even now, if someone wants to talk my politics, I'll walk off.
Yeah.
They don't have to see it and hear it. But at the same time, I probably neglected a lot of my friends.
How do you do it, man? How do you break away from the family man, the friend, and go out there, because you're attacked constantly, brutalized for what you do for your country, because obviously the left and the opposite end of the spectrum is always going to try to attack those of us who are in opposition. How do you do it, man?
I get torn between the two because I know what it does affects my family. And I had to, even when I went to jail this time, my son struggled as well. And I made that decision. I played that film.
Mm-hmm.
I made that decision for a bigger thing. And I did speak to my kids before I did it. I said, look, if I need to do this. I've got a film that exposes the corruption of the judiciary. The judiciary is used as a weapon across the whole of the West.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a justice system. It's a legal system. When they put a target on someone, they use it. So I had the evidence to show how they're doing it. Steve Bannon, Donald Trump, Marine Le Pen now, Geert Wilders, Katie Hopkins, the list goes on and on,
Mm-hmm.
of people who have been targeted. So I knew I had to do it, but then I feel guilty at times. I felt really bad when I was in prison. I struggled a bit because my son was having a real bad time,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt like I should have been there for him. And then I sat and thought, I've been away for 3 years now. Like after my divorce happened because the address was given out, live streamed, extremists come to the house, and my now ex-wife made the decision that she needs to protect the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I support her in that decision, but I haven't lived with my kids for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I sat and thought, did I make the decision then, the right decision? And I had some deep thoughts about it because I missed a lot of my kids,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it kept them safe. So then I think about all the stuff I'm doing, and then I think about the effect it has.
Mm.
But I believe in what I do, and I don't just. I said this to Jenna. I wholeheartedly believe that if we don't stop this, our country's gone. Not just gone, but the freedoms we have, our children won't have. And I really see the future, and I think we have to do everything we can to stop it. And now my kids are older, so I explain these things to my kids now. And my son was really supportive. My son really gets it. So, and my girls seem to have got through it all right compared to it's saying that. Look, I'll show you this. These are the things I have to deal with. My daughter rang me. She was at a festival on Saturday when I was here, stressing my whole head.
Mm-hmm.
And
I remember this.
yeah, she said, I just get this. So this boy, he's gone up to her. Your dad's a fucking racist. Like my daughter's a 17-year-old girl, and then this is the argument kicking off. But I'm getting videos of people confronting my children.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I'm glad I was here.
That's got to be scary for you too at the same time, because I know you do your best. I've seen you. I know you try to protect their identities and all that.
They're not safe here. I know that. So I know it's a matter of time before something drastic happens.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know when I went to jail? That's my thing as well. I'm in prison, so any control element I have is gone. The first day or the day after, I speak to my daughter, and a car's pulled up to her, and they've called her, like, showered loads of shit at her, some boys. That was the first or second day. The next week, my son goes to a fireworks display. He gets chased by some boys with knives.
With knives?
With knives. So he gets chased at a fireworks display. I'm in a cell. So if I'm not in a cell, you see, if my son was going anywhere, I'm waiting nearby. See, my son was at that festival. I know I sound like a protective dad, but I have to be. I rang my son. My son went to a party, and I rang my son and said, ring my friends, and have them on standby. So if anything happens at that party, I know people are there.
Mm-hmm.
But my children have to walk that walk. My son struggled to get in friendship groups. My daughter struggled during Black Lives Matter, struggled big time. She was isolated from everyone. But they're all not their decisions, they're my decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I sit and think about it. And yeah.
It's still worth it?
Yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah. You're a great dad, so I think you can find some solace in that, man. What do you think is the hardest thing that you've had to endure because of your activism?
Salwan Mamika got murdered. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Salwan Mamika.
Yeah, that's horrific.
In Sweden. When that happened, my son had a meltdown. Because obviously, and he's thinking, they're going to come for him.
Mm.
I just think we shouldn't be in this position in Great Britain.
I agree.
We should have protection. The police knocked on our door 12 times. I've given us official Osmond warnings, government warnings to say your life's in danger. My mum and dad got one recently when the riots were going on. My mum and dad had to leave the house. So they come to the house, give my wife one. You're going to get attacked with acid. Now, Americans won't understand this. They give me one from Al-Shabaab. Al-Shabaab have named you in a terrorist video. There's 5 Muslims who have been sent to jail for 30 years. They got caught with guns and bombs on the way to kill us. Yeah. So it's serious threats. They give you the threat, and then they tell you can't defend yourself in the letter. You cannot get a weapon. You cannot prepare to defend yourself. So you're like sitting ducks. You just sat in a house. I've had to learn to live. I just said, I'll just play you this as well because I have so many examples of these things. I've just seen, there's another gentleman called Charlie who's doing activism against the Gaza protests. He's now received a Osmo warning. And I said, mate, you need to change the way you live. That's what I've learned to do.
Charlie, how are you, mate? I don't know if it's too early there. It's 2:30 in the morning where I am. But, yeah, I was just reaching out with that, all the French you had, bruv. What you need to do is when you next move house, get no paperwork in your name. No electoral roll, no mail, nothing in your name. Because the hardest thing for them to do is find you. Do you know what I mean? That's how I live, bruv. I don't have any mail. I have one place the mail goes. I don't let anyone know where that house is. I make sure, obviously, when I found the house, it was all right, accessible, so there was a private access. Obviously, the word spreads that you're there, but it's not the same as people being able to go on 192.com and look up your name. And they'd bring trouble.
So just basic things. I since the start of my activism, lived two lives. I stopped driving in the car with the kids when we was in Luton. I stopped going to things. I'd go separately. Every restaurant I go in, everyone knows my back's to the wall. Everywhere I go, I have to see who's coming in. So my thing is, we shouldn't have to live like that. We shouldn't be in this situation. In fact, I shouldn't even have to be having these discussions.
Yeah.
Because there's people who are being funded and paid in the government who are meant to tackle these problems. Why is it being left to us? And then when we do talk about it, there's no protection given. And there's not just no protection given, but we're attacked by the state as well. America's the only place. You're so lucky to be an American.
Yeah,
You're the only place
we
in the world
dodged a
with free
bullet.
speech.
We dodged a bullet with Trump. I don't know what would have happened if Kamala Harris had won.
He'd have turned into Britain.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Britain.
And you see the damage, the extent of the damage Joe Biden was able to do in just the 4 years. Look what's going on our streets right now.
I think you needed that though.
Yeah.
I think America needed that.
Yeah, a wake up call.
Like when Keir Starmer got in, I think yes, I was quite happy. I watch what he does. The Labour Party have never got into a country that's bankrupt. They've always gone to a country that's financially all right and then bankrupt. Now they get into a country that's bankrupt. So I think people needed to see how bad it is in order to get the mandate that Trump needed. But look at them now. But again, I think good, not good, but when they're writing like this, people need to see it. And then hopefully now Trump does the investigations into who's organising it and funding it. Because it's the same, all the same people every time.
Oh yeah, it's always the same.
Always the same.
Delivering pallets of
It's
blocks,
organised.
bricks and blocks out there so they can throw at the ICE agents and the National
It's
Guard.
all organised. You know, I went to Poland, and I went to Poland 2015. They had a 100-year anniversary of their Independence Day. 250,000 of them, families marching, the best show of pride I've ever seen. And I spoke to the organisers, and they had a left-wing government before. And at every rally they had, there were riots. Everyone. The left-wing government got voted out. The right-wing government come in. There's never been any trouble. The police literally got sent in, which is what they do to us, to attack the protesters. That's the tactics that we used. And I just spoke to the tactics that have gone on with me in the UK, which people need to understand, is Christopher Steele was the MI5 agent who made the fake allegation against Donald Trump. So he was paid. He makes a fake allegation against Donald Trump. The FBI, who are in on it as well, they then leak stories to the mainstream media. Okay, they're not legitimate stories, but they leak them.
It was circular.
So then, when they go to get the warrant in front of the judge, they say, "We've got this from Christopher Steele, MI5, and we've got this and this in the mainstream media." It's all planned. Now that, if they can do that to Donald Trump in order to get surveillance, in order to stop him getting elected, what do you think they're doing to us? Because Christopher Steele, the same Christopher Steele, I'll show you here, he put an article out just 6 months ago about me. He was the source of information.
Christopher Steele put an article out about you.
So look, I'll show you.
Why would anybody take this guy's...
Because they don't care. No one in the UK knows. They use these people as weapons. No one in the UK knows that the Russia hoax was fake. No one knows that Christopher Steele made it up. I should have, I was going to go find him.
They probably still think Charlottesville was real, the fine people on both sides.
Christopher Steele, Russian involvement. Far-right disorder had Russian involvement. Tommy Robinson will be investigated for potential links to Russia after the riots. Now, that's coming from MI502.
Today we've been
Now-
discussing the
I'm now getting apparently I had nothing to do with the riots. They framed me for it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They instigated. They used the fake news to put a picture of me on the front page of the newspaper to say that I was instigating the riots. There's no evidence of that.
No. It's actually to the contrary.
It's the
You were
contrary.
calling for calm.
But it doesn't matter because
Mhm.
everyone reads their news.
Right.
Did you read the Daily Mail as well? Look, sorry to keep going on my.
Is this from Cyprus, you mean?
Did you read? No. Did you read what they put in the other day to court?
I don't
So
think so.
they've given themselves an award, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's how what people need to understand how they work. I'll read you it because the riots going off across the UK. They're going off because people are angry. People are justifiably angry.
Mm-hmm.
Say, for example, there was riots in Hull, city of Hull. Well, the jihadists left the hotel. So
Mhm.
15 billion's being spent putting these jihadists and rapists and criminals that are illegally entering the country into hotels.
Mm-hmm.
He leaves the hotel and he butchers someone, murders a pensioner to death in a jihad attack.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the people at Hull were probably on the street. Then you had Tamworth. Mohammed left the hotel and raped a woman walking home. Skegness, Mohammed left the hotel and raped a woman walking home. There's been things in all towns and cities, but rather than address and talk about those issues, because which is why people are angry.
They talk about Islamophobia.
Tommy Robinson, Daily Mail Press Awards, yeah? So our photograph of Tommy Robinson stoking the flames of the post-Southport race riots from the safety of a Cypriot sunbed became one of the defining images of the summer's disorder. So, and it did. It's
Unbelievable. It's been you can actually go and see videos of you multiple times.
Only because we've got X.
Right. Well, only because of X.
And it got 8 million views on X. But if I didn't have X, which is how it's been before that, for 6 years,
people would believe everything.
I started the riots.
Yeah.
And from that one person, from the Daily Mail run that news article, Somalian made a video saying he wants to kill me. Another man made a video of an AK-47 saying it's going to kill me.
I saw both of those.
My mum and dad got asthma warnings.
Yeah.
My children were threatened to be raped. Now, so the media run the story with no truth.
Mm-hmm.
And that is in collusion with the government.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the time of the UK riots kick off, and the very first day, the police said it was the English Defence League.
Mm-hmm.
I formed the English Defence League. I left in 2014.
Mm.
There's been no English Defence League since 2014. There's no meetings, there's no organisation.
Right.
Yeah? They reinvented it. So as soon as they reinvented it on the first day, I knew they're going to blame me.
Mm.
So they reinvented it. Local people are rioting. None of them far right. None of them involved in any groups. They blamed it on the English Defence League. Then step in the other weapon of the totalitarian state, because forget it, Britain's not a free country. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
The totalitarian state has different weapons. The judiciary, the media. So then the next day, the media travel to my holiday. I don't know how they know I'm there. First day. Yeah. And then they take a picture of me on my sunbed and then frame me as the man instigating the riots.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's been a study since come out a couple of months ago when I was in prison. The study says that there was no far-right involvement. People didn't travel from other towns.
Mm-hmm.
It was all local people.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with me. It's like, but that's too late. It
What
doesn't.
organization? Was that a government agency that did that investigation?
Yeah.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah, they sanctioned it.
Okay.
So they paid for an investigation to find out
Mhm.
because they said it was the far right rioting everywhere.
Yeah.
There was no far right at all. Keir Starmer stood on our TV 100 times and blamed the far right.
Mm.
They blame people coming in from other towns. So they win anyway because that fake news, they've had the monopoly for so long. It's only now they're sort of done
Mm.
because now we can counter it. Now we can make our videos and say that's a lie.
Mm-hmm.
And citizen journalists stepping forward, podcast hosts, that's how you counter it.
Right.
People aren't listening to find out what's going on in CNN.
Mm-hmm.
They're watching Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, with all these, false stories they print about you, I think a lot of it leads, the public outcry from the left. A lot of that leads to you being incarcerated. You just served another 7 months. What was that like? What was a daily routine for you like in prison? From wake up to sundown till you go to bed?
So before I went to jail,
Mhm.
the last 3 weeks, I lost my head. Totally
Mhm.
lost it. I'm surprised I'm alive.
I was there for part of that.
Yeah, I lost it, bruv.
Yeah.
I lost it because I'd put the film out. I knew what I was doing. I wanted to do it, but I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do it because I was scared.
Mm-hmm.
I was scared of the prisons are controlled by Islamic gangs, every one of them jihadists. So, but that weren't my major worry.
Mm-hmm.
My major worry was solitary confinement,
Mm-hmm.
which may sound mad. I've come out 10 days ago. I feel awful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not having a. So the first days out, I went and done a video with that lady. You know, there's an old lady who's dying. I've never felt so bad.
Mm-hmm.
I felt on edge, snappy, ready to blow.
Mm-hmm.
People I've been seeing probably, I'm not the same. People are saying I look good and I seem good when they watch me, but I know. So
is that an act? Do you put that?
Yeah. I try and feel. Yeah, but when I went to, so before I was going in that last 3 weeks, the riots kicked off. They're framing me for the riots. I think I'm in 10 years now. That's what I thought. And solitary confinement last time, I've done 5 months, 4 months, 3 months. But I thought if they're going to give me 4 years, which is what I was looking at,
mm-hmm.
I thought I'm going to be fried, man. I'm telling you, because I come out of those jail sentences in a bad way, and it took me years to try and get myself straight.
Mm-hmm.
So my worry when I went in there, that's what my worry was, and I was away and I was ready to blow anyway. And I come back because I didn't have to come back and face it. Because it was a civil offence, they couldn't have extradited me on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted, this may sound mad, I wanted them to send me to jail.
Mm-hmm.
I goaded them to send me to jail because I wanted the world to see the film. And I think that people need to know what they're doing.
You're still glad you did it then?
Yeah, I'm glad I've done it, yeah. I am. I had a bad time at Christmas with my son.
Yeah.
Where, yeah, but I'm glad I've done it. I'll tell you what, I'm not glad.
Yeah.
That the film was taken down. In fact, I'm furious because.
Well, but I think you've done so much. You'd already done all you could, and people, we need you out here. You know, I think you're more powerful outside. I think your point had been made. I think you did all you could. What's another 2 months going to do with the film?
Yeah, but the other 2 months I'd have done happily. It was the fact that the Attorney General then said that I'd be re-prosecuted as soon as I walk out.
It's unbelievable that's even possible.
I'd have spent the rest of my life in jail for a film.
It's unbelievable. They can prosecute for the exact same crime. That's not a free country, man. That is not a free country.
For a film.
You're playing a
but
film.
my thing, so when I played the film, I knew what I was doing. I was worried. And then when I went to jail, first week I went to Belmarsh and then I landed in Woodhill.
Mm-hmm.
Woodhill's 40% Muslim. It's one of the most maximum security jails in the country, worst prisoners in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to there's 16 cells here and 16 cells on this side, and they cleared all 16. So they put me in there, it was just me. And then I was on 23 and a half hour lockup, out for 30 minutes. And I had a meeting with the psychology team. And I asked her, I said, like, you're the expert. If you hold me like this for 9 months, what's it going to do?
Mm-hmm.
She said, it's going to be devastating. It's going to be so detrimental for you. I said, so why are you doing it? So I'm in for a civil offence. For a civil offence, you go to an open prison.
This conversation was with who?
A psychologist,
Okay.
because you have a prison psychologist.
Okay.
I said, I'm in for a civil offence. I made a documentary that you don't go to jail for that. And anyone who goes to jail for a civil offence, they go straight to an open prison where you stay at prison at night, but you go out and work every day. And then you get your criminal sentence, say like 18 months, you half it, 9 months, and then you half it again. Or you take 60% off, then you half it. For tag, you get HDC, curfew. I landed in there. I weren't allowed the 60% off that everyone else is allowed. I weren't allowed HDC, so I was serving the whole 9 months. If I was a criminal, I'd have served 3 months.
You'd serve less time.
I'd have served 3 months. I served 3 times as long. So when I said to her, I said, I'd rather fight every day than break my mind. So, because they ask you if you want to go in normal location. I said, yeah, I do. I don't want to be held in segregation because I know what it's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
But then they forcefully held me in segregation because I wouldn't be safe. But they're right, I wouldn't be safe. I'd be dead. Muslims are beheading people. So a prisoner got beheaded in that jail.
I heard that.
So
and a guard got his throat cut or something.
Yeah, that was recently. A guy got stabbed in there.
Yeah.
It's out of control. But when so I was, and then I got to jail, and I think I noticed after about 8 weeks, you start to notice things.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what it is? I always say I'm lucky I'm good company because you just sound your own all day. 20, and it sounds like I said imagine I was the right boy.
You're good company for yourself, huh?
I sat there, so you get 21 hours on the bed, and then they open the door. But I got out for 3 hours which last time I didn't, because I'm a civil offender. They took me over to another unit on my own. I walk around on the yard on my own, and then they put me in like a makeshift mini gym, not a proper gym, a mini gym. So then I'll do that. I have my routine, but it's quite weird, you know. even when you start talking, you sound different because you're not talking.
What was the worst part about solitary? The number one worst thing about it?
I think just, I'd wait to ring my kids, and this is just mind games. So I'd wait, and I started thinking as well, I don't ring my kids enough because I'd ring them every day. When I've been away, I didn't ring them every day. So I thought about a lot of things, but I'd wait till 6 o'clock to make my phone call because every other prisoner in that jail, their phones go on at 6 in the morning to 11 p.m. I was on live monitored calls, so someone's listening. So my phone went on for half hour in the morning, and then sometimes half hour at lunch and an hour in the evening. But I'd wait to ring my son. They don't turn the phone on. When I say I want to call someone, and that's when I realised, shit, like, this is affecting me because I'm ready to blow. If that door wasn't there, I'd be probably wanting to kill someone. But those little things, like remember they cancelled your visit?
Well, I remember they canceled my visit, and I remember that your son was on the phone with you, and he passed the phone to me.
They cancelled his phone.
And they canceled his phone privileges just because you talked to him.
So all this happened at the same time. That happened. Then they cancelled Jenna, my kid's mum's number. Then I rang. So I rang Jenna, and my son had gone to Tenerife. And I rang Jenna, and I couldn't get hold of him. And I said, has he checked in the hotel all right? He's only 15. He's gone with his mate who's 18. And then he rings him on loudspeaker, and his internet's not working. His phone's not working, but he's got internet. So then I say to him on loudspeaker, you need to change the settings on your phone. You need to sort it out. I need to be able to check you each day. They cut his phone. They cut her phone number off, and then they give me no food for a week. And all this happened at the same time. So at that same time, I was, and then I had outside independent psychologists come in. So the prison psychologist said, we're telling the prison, this is not good. You shouldn't be doing this. And then an outside expert come in and assessed me and said, diagnosed me with complex post-traumatic
stress disorder.
Yeah, stress disorder. So, and but none of that mattered. They didn't care. So they intentionally held me on solitary confinement because I think the whole thing has been to break me.
It's torture, yeah.
And every 42 days, so basically it's called the Mandela Rule.
Right.
14 days is all you're allowed on solitary confinement within a prison. So if you stab someone, which happens all the time, or you throw boiling water on someone, you go to the segregation unit, which is where I spent my entire sentence. And you go there for 14 days because they're not allowed to hold you in isolation for more than 14 days because of the problems that it causes. I spent 7 months there. But after 42 days, it gets stamped by the government. The prison can't do it. So every 42 days, I got a letter and I had to give my response. My response, where it said, you're doing this intentionally. I know and you know what this is going to do. And I think I was more worried about it because I remember when I came out of jail last time, I couldn't even connect with the kids.
It's going to be tough, man.
Probably got me in a bad time. So I was worrying all the time in there, thinking, what am I going to be like? How many problems I'm going to have when I get out? And I was stressed about it. So I write these letters every 42 days, and I just wanted it documented. So I said, look, this is mental torture. You know it, I know it. You're doing it for political reasons. I should be in an open prison, blah, blah, blah. And obviously, the reason the government hate me is because of the rape gangs, the Islamic rape gangs, because they hid it for 30, 40 years. We smashed it into the world's attention. And I've made a 5-part series called The Rape of Britain. That's why they arrested me in 2017 and put me in jail for reporting on the rape gangs. So when I come out of jail, I said, I'm going to make a documentary series now. I'm coming after you. And I made it, and I went after police officers who were corrupt. It's a brilliant 5-part series if you watch it. It's really in depth. We look into all the grooming gangs. Now, I had to fill my last letter out to the government like 2 weeks before I got out. So I said, it's Shabina Mahmood, who's the lady who kept stamping to hold me in solitary confinement. So I wrote, hi Shabina, I'm coming home in 2 weeks. So, like, can't wait to get out. My next documentary, Labour's Islamic Rape Gangs. I'm coming for you. And I was meant to get out on the Friday, wasn't I?
Yeah.
And they held me till the Tuesday. And the prison were like, I still don't know why they held me, mate, because I've just dropped a bomb. Because
like only you can do. Right?
Like, remember that they're gangs, these Islamic gangs. So the Labour Party, who is the Democrat Party of your country,
right?
The Labour Party, every single Islamic rape gang are in their constituencies.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the Democrat cities, they bring all the migrants in so that they'd be in their cities. That's what Labour Party done. Now, I've done lots of research over the years of how involved Labour were in these gangs.
Mm-hmm.
They were literally raping with the gangs, the Muslims were.
Mm-hmm.
If they weren't raping, the local Labour politicians were going to court to testify for the gangs,
Mm-hmm.
giving them character references.
Unbelievable.
Didn't lose their jobs. So I've got a whole load of dirt. I've got their rapists, some now leading MPs. So that's my next project. And maybe I shouldn't tell them, but I'd just like to.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's what I've done. I think I got punched for 7 months. That's how I felt. I thought, I'm getting punched every day for 7 months. When I come back out of here, I'm going to punch you all back.
Mm-hmm.
And how do I do that? With my camera, with my journalism. I'm going to embarrass them, humiliate them. But I come out of jail, so I get the verdict to say I'm getting out. And I told the prison staff the whole way through, they're not going to let me out.
Mm-hmm.
I said, look, remember everything everyone saw was silenced.
Mm-hmm.
No, this has been going on for 15 years. There's not been one single moment since 2009 that I haven't faced prison in court. Not one. I've not had a minute.
No,
So
no jury trials either.
No jury trials. So this one, when I was coming out on this one, I thought, because I had the terrorism trial was meant to be in March,
Mm-hmm.
so at least when I get out now. I was relieved as well because I had this hanging over me for 2-3 years, and it's hard, and it weighed on me,
Mm-hmm.
worrying about it. So I thought, right, it's done. I'm going to come out of jail and I've got no cases. They postponed the terrorism trial till October. So if it got heard in March, it would have just run. I was in prison already.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'll go back in October. They might try and lock me up for Christmas. And you know, like I keep saying that, that's it's lawfare, and the purpose of it is that you're constantly fighting that,
Mm-hmm.
and that is a pressure on you. It's a pressure on your family. It ties you up.
What you're saying, the process is the punishment.
Process is the punishment.
Yeah.
You know, the film Silence.
Mm-hmm.
When I done that film, at the end of that, I represented myself at the High Court.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been so broken at the end of that case.
Mm-hmm.
I booked into a 28-day rehabilitation centre to have a break.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the process. So anyone who's been through these court cases, the good thing about the United States and you're now government, they know. They know what the FBI done with the Russiagate.
Mm-hmm.
They know what's going on with Biden
Yeah.
in Ukraine.
I think some retribution is coming.
Well, Donald Trump knows that he would have spent the rest of his life in jail if he didn't win that election.
100%.
So when they're looking at my cases, because I have this, I'd love to be able to visit America
Mm-hmm.
with my family. But I've got this long criminal record.
Mm-hmm.
It's all lawfare. I've never had a jury.
Yeah.
I've never once been tried by a jury.
Yeah.
And I've been, and so...
Well, I think you have a lot of support in America.
Yeah, because you still have free speech and you believe in free speech. And you don't have the numbers of Muslims that we have, that your politicians aren't surrendering to them.
Well, I think you have a lot of support in America to help get you there.
I hope so. I'd just love to visit.
Yeah.
My thing is my fight is in Britain.
Yeah.
That's my fight. And people keep saying to me, because all of my own supporters say, you're not safe, you've got to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And I've left 3 years ago.
Yeah, I think it would be amazing for you to come and do a tour. And what would you say to America? What would your warning be if you did a tour warning Tommy Robinson's warning?
I travelled to America in 2009, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I got detained at JFK Airport and I got deported.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back in 2010. Stupid move. Well, was it a stupid move? Sometimes when you believe in something, you make a stupid move.
Mm-hmm.
I went back and I took my friend's passport.
And you were going to participate in a speech there, right?
My speech was after New York State Center.
Mm-hmm.
The speech I gave was called A Warning to America.
Mm-hmm.
I was only young. I've grown up in Luton, a town north of London. When I was born, it had one mosque. It's now got 45.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to, like most of these experts. I've had it with. There's a multiculturalism expert who's Kofi Annan, speechwriter for the European Union,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm debating him. I said, "Where did you grow up?" Exeter. I said, Exeter's a 99.9% white Christian town. How the hell are you an expert on any of this shit? It's like reading a book on building a house and thinking you can build a house. I said, I've grown up. I was probably 30 at the time. I'm a white English minority in my town.
Uh-huh.
All the terrorists are from my town. What do you even know?
Mm-hmm.
How are you even sitting here? So I've experienced it.
You know, we have you talked about warning to America right now. We have around the Dallas area, Texas. There's a place called Epic City. They're
they're
trying
building
to
in
create
Epic City.
a complete Muslim enclave that allows Muslims only. We've got Minnesota, one of our heaviest Dearborn, Michigan. So we're definitely headed that way. I just think right now our population's so big we don't feel it yet.
You'd have no idea what's coming.
Yeah,
Americans have no idea what's coming because you see that they're purposely building that enclave.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need to purposely build it because when they move into where they move into, everyone else moves out anyway. Because they come in, they're hostile, they're violent, they're aggressive, they don't assimilate, they don't integrate, and it becomes a Muslim enclave. There's no look at the UK.
I do feel like it'd be a little bit different with us because we have the Second Amendment, though. So I still think an opposing force that comes in like that, especially in an area like Texas, where you have a lot of gun owners, that'll be a little bit harder.
They'll have guns and all.
What's that?
They'll have guns and all. You see if Muslims in the UK had guns, do you know how many terrorist attacks we'd have had? Like, I always looked at America with the Islamic issue. Your Islamic immigration was the highly educated and the people that were successful. That's who you let in. Yeah? So you didn't have the tribal, radicalised jihadist mindset, really. Our immigration was the backward clowns from Kashmir. We imported the worst of the worst because of your policy. But that's changed under Biden. You've let 8 million of them through, from Somalia, from Iraq, from Syria, the lowest of the low.
Some people say 20 million.
Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, probably is. But I just don't think any of you understand what's coming. You need to deal with the prison system because they're going to recruit, convert. You need to get them out, okay? Because they're going to build an army from your prison system. And when they go into the prison system, remember, most people in prison have been wronged. That's why they're in prison. I know they've done wrong, but their life has started. They've been wronged. They've had a hard life, a lot of them. And they take every bit of anger that the person has and they turn it into with an ideology and they target it back in the West. You have no idea what's coming. I'm telling you, you've got to.
It's scary, man. It really is.
Because the blacks are all converting in the UK.
Especially.
Everyone's converting.
That's one of the reasons I wish so many people could do. I know that it's impossible for everybody to go to the UK and participate in your demonstrations, but one of the things that's really opened my eyes is just how horrific it is. What's going on, not only just the government, but the Islamic immigration or integration, however you want to.
So they do.
So they don't really.
Once they convert the main lads to gangs, and the gangs come back out of jail. So say like our estate where we grew up, there's a lad called Barry Chin. He was one of the main lads, a bit younger than me, mixed race lad. So when I say main lads, the lads that were handy, all the lads that would resist the Pakistani gangs, wouldn't allow them to come up onto the estate selling heroin.
Yeah, tough guys.
They just wouldn't allow it.
Yeah.
Barry goes to jail, comes out Muslim.
Oh.
So then the Muslims are up on the estate. And then the drugs are up on the estate, and then they're all working together. So they're like there's the Burger Bar Boys, the Johnsons. They're massive gangs in the UK, massive black gangs. They're all Muslim now, all of them. And then they control streets. So the Bloods and the Cribs, another 15 years they'll all be Muslim. You need to sort it out. You need to stop it because we didn't try and stop it, and our prison system hasn't tried to stop it because no one wanted to talk about it because it was Islam, Muslims. So they didn't try and stop it. But if you don't stop it, you're going to lose total control of your prison.
How do you stop the growth of Islam in a country with the freedom of religion?
Well, it's not religion, is it? It's an ideology.
I agree. You and I are in agreement on that.
It shouldn't be given the same opportunities because it's not religion. It's a total way of life.
Yeah.
And it's a fascist ideology. It's a violent ideology. Do you know you hear Islam is a religion of peace? Do you know who the first person to say it was?
I do now because I've hung out with you for so long. Yeah.
George W. Bush.
Yeah.
There's no people in history before that clown that ever said Islam's a religion of peace. Every Islamic leader, every political leader, every wartime leader just told the truth about Islam. Islam is a violent war ideology. Okay, that's it. Now, we hear the whole argument now about interpretation. Then all of these things are a way of getting Islam not to be criticised and giving it a way out. So when people say now, you hear them saying we're against Islamists, not Islam.
Yeah.
We're against Islamists. Was the Prophet Muhammad an Islamist?
Yeah, of course.
He's a violent,
by today's standard, for sure.
He's a violent terrorist Islamist.
Yeah.
Now, if he's a violent terrorist Islamist and he's the perfect role model for Islam, we've got a problem.
Yeah.
But the prison system is where they hit, which is what Muhammad did. So Muhammad, when he first started preaching, he went out to the mountains to all the people who'd been driven out of the villages who were all criminals. And then he said, right, that's basically, Allah's come to me, give me a message. We can go rob that place. We can loot it, take everything off them, and we can rape all the women. That's what it is. And then they've all gone down and raped them.
They get a pass as long as they're not Muslim.
And then in his first 10 years, he had 350 followers. Once he introduced jihad, that Allah told him, then that's when he won the winning formula, which was war. War.
Yeah.
War, murder, rape. But if you don't tackle it now, you've got 10 years, you'll never tackle it. Because if you look at Western nations, every Western nation that's got large Muslim populations they don't talk about it. They're all too scared. Well, Hungary will talk about it. Poland will talk about it because they're not infected. Once they're in, you've got 5 million Muslims. They act so violently. They act like such a close-knit community. Everyone's scared to offend them. And I get it. Do you know why? Because I've grown up in Luton. There's some great Muslims. I don't care if there's some great Muslims. There's probably some great Germans during the Nazi conflict. Islam is going to bring Europe back to the Dark Ages. Islam will destroy your country. There's not one single country that Islam's gone to as a minority and then rose in power that hasn't turned to civil conflict.
One of the statistics I heard, well, we know their population doubles every 20 years, right?
Well, it's actually, I heard that from Patrick and
Patrick said that, yeah.
It's actually 10 years.
I thought it was 10.
When I looked in some cities, it's 10.
Yeah.
And they're the numbers that we're getting given. So my local imam, Kadir Bask, when I sat down with him in Luton, I said, there's 30,000 Muslims in Luton, Kadir? He said, Tommy, there's 60. There's 60. Now, that makes sense because we keep getting told there's 5% Muslim population. I think, oh, jog on, mate.
Yeah. We're talking about faith right now. You and I communicated quite a bit through letters while you were inside. You and I've talked about your faith before. You told me that when you were in, there was I believe there was a gentleman there ministering to you, and you were reading your Bible every day. One of the things that shocked me, I was there when you were being interviewed by Patrick, Bett, and Dave. One of the things that shocked me, and I told you this, was that you professed your Christianity for the first time. I don't know if that's the first time. It's the first time I've heard you do it publicly. What's brought about this? Is this change?
I think like many in Britain, I see the downfall of Britain when we lost faith. When I look at it now, when we lost faith, but I believe we lost faith because the church failed us. The church is so out of touch. In fact, I despise the church. The Church of England, they're sellouts. They've never stood up. I look at things and they're all standing with Muslims all the time, and I think Christians are being massacred every day. Why are you not talking about what's just happening in Nigeria? Why are you not talking about? I just don't get it. So, and I feel the Christianity that's shown to us is weak, and it's not always been weak, and it's not. So when they say Muslims say Jesus said turn the other cheek. So this pastor, when I sat down with him in prison, and I asked him this question. Jesus said turn the other cheek. What did he mean? He said he meant don't hit me like a dog, hit me like a man. I said good. Because so many people take it that Christianity is totally weak. Christianity wouldn't be here if it was weak. There's a time now for masculinity. There's a time, and something's happening. And I watched it. Do you know, after the Paris Olympics, I've never pushed Christianity or let Christians talk at our events in that way. I just said, get a priest up here when I saw what they'd done. And then when I look into it now, I see that Christianity's under attack. Even you see when American football players mention it or mention Jesus and they cut it out.
Yeah.
I just think, and then I look at everything. So when I started reading the Bible, I was shocked. Like, I'd never read the Bible. Everything comes from the Bible. Everything.
Our moral compass does, for sure, in the Western world.
Everything. Yeah. So we wouldn't, and I saw the Queen said, what built Great Britain? And she said the Bible. So I've watched all of that. I've seen Christianity come under attack. I've seen churches are empty. So I met this pastor when I went to jail. His church won't be empty. Yeah. And that's what's needed. He was a good man. He actually was at a demonstration against me. He told me that in the early days when we had DDL. He was on the other side. But I really liked him. And I liked him. I asked him lots of questions. And then I think you need the Bible to be taught to you because there were so many things that I'd miss in it.
Yeah.
And I think that even people who are against I think that if you try and push the word God, the public have been conditioned to be against it in the UK. So I don't think that you have to do that to many people to get. I think you just have to say, what's Christianity? What built this nation? What's our culture? What's our identity? And we've lost our identity. So when
I agree. I think that's all over the Western world. I don't think it's just the UK. I think it's America. I think Christianity is definitely on the decline.
In Ireland and everywhere. But if you look at
or has been, I should say, maybe now there's starting to be a revival just because we're starting to see what's going on in the world. Yeah.
So we had our second demonstration, 40,000 people, which is big numbers for a UK demonstration. And there was 2 lads and they had Christ is King on a big banner, and the crowd was going wild. The whole crowd. September 27th, July 27th, 100,000 people are chanting Christ is King. So I'm watching it thinking, I wonder if those 100,000 people believe Christ is King. There's an attack on our identity. We've lost our culture, and people are looking to where that comes from, and it comes from Christianity. And the more I looked, it doesn't come from weak-ass Christianity. I like the churches in America. I love it. I want to watch your churches. Even you say grace, you sit and hold hands. It gives a good feeling. I've never. We don't do that. We don't do that. I had a vicar. Can I name it? So when the English Defence League started, he travelled down from Dewsbury, and he met me, and he said, "Tommy, do you mind if I sit and pray for you?" No one had ever sat and prayed for me. He said, "I'm going to say a prayer," and he said the prayer was, he believes I'm going to be a sacrificial lamb. I said, "Cheers, bro." No. But he was really nice. I felt close to God just by sitting with him.
Yeah,
and he was a lovely man, and he prayed for me, and then I went to jail. And he come in on the prison visits because he's allowed to. And he was a journalist for the Sunday Times.
Yeah.
Before he found God. And he found God when he was in Africa, and he felt the Holy Spirit come into him. So I've always wanted that experience. So even in jail, I'm sitting there thinking, oh, so many people writing to me. And you know what shocked me? Jesus, there's so many Christians.
Yeah.
Everyone who wrote to me.
It's a great feeling, man. I feel like I've been a Christian my entire life since I was a little kid. My whole family I had 3 preachers in my family. We're very, very, very Christian family. I feel like the Holy Spirit's been in me my whole life. My whole family is so spiritual and Christian, and we love God, we love Christ.
My mum's
It is a great feeling, though. I just want to throw that out there to you. You said it.
Yeah, I wish
you
I had
wanted
it.
to feel it.
I've always wanted it, and even in jail.
Well, I think you're coming closer to it. Just from hearing you profess your Christian identity. You may not be there all the way yet, but I think you just keep reading your Bible. Like you said, you read your Bible every day. The one thing is salvation's good for anybody. It's offered for anyone who accepts Christ, and you can have that feeling, man. So, it's there for you if you want it.
Yeah, something big's happening in Britain with Christianity.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and do a documentary on it.
Yeah.
That's one of our next projects as well.
So, talk to me about this most recent charge against you, which is really probably the most ridiculous charge that I've heard against you. You came out of prison, you got charged immediately with harassment causing fear of violence because you said that you wanted to write a story and photograph journalists who did the same thing to you. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
So the riots are going on in the UK. Daily Mail come to my family holiday. They take pictures of my family. They put pictures of my innocent family in the national newspaper. I've managed for 15 years. There's no images of my ex-wife. We've kept her a secret. She can walk down the street. They published a picture of her. Why? How is that in the public interest? Why did they need to do that? So rewind, when I got out of jail in 2017 or 18, when I was reporting the grooming gangs, the Daily Mail checked into a room 3 doors up for a week. I caught him. And when I caught him, I obviously said, "You've been taking pictures of my family. You're going to put pictures of my family in the paper. You can't do that." And we rung the editor, and the editor said he won't put pictures of them in. So there's threats against my family. You can't be posting pictures of them. So he didn't. So then I go out here. They put the picture on the front page, 6 pages inside, and I was furious and worried.
This is when you were in Cyprus.
Yes, when I'm in Cyprus. It's the second day of our holiday. Do you know how much I needed that holiday? The only time I feel normal is when I go on holiday. Because other than that, I'm walking around like that. I'm usually tense or waiting. I have to be ready to fight. when I go anywhere.
Right.
So, and I don't want to be. But when I go on holiday, I'm with the kids. That's my moment. So we got there, and it's the second day. They post on the front page. They give the location of the hotel. Muslims start making videos telling people to head to the hotel. The next day, 6 different groups turned up at the hotel. Al Jazeera, BBC, Sky News. The manager of the hotel's come to me and said, please just wait in your room. I spent the day in the room. And then he said, we're scared, everyone's scared. Like, we've got a duty of care for everyone here. Like, we need you to leave. So I left, but I said to the kids I want them to stay and have the holiday because we're 4 families with lots of other kids. So in this 2 days, it's the 5th of August to the 7th of August. The story's come out. So I've looked at who's involved in the story. I've got their 3 names. I thought, I took pictures of all my family. You endangered them. And they have endangered because there was threats to kill them, rape them. My little girl's, she's 14 now, 13. They're having to read this shit. They're taking pictures and they approached my daughter. It just done my head in. Do you know when I've done the Rape of Britain series, 5-part series going after Muslim rapists? So we'd sit there, and it costs a lot of money because you've got the film crew, surveillance, teams, security. We'd sit there. If they come out with their mum, their kids, we don't approach them. I wait till they're on their own. So I just think you didn't have to. You could have come and done that story about me. This was a lie anyway. You know, you could have lied about me.
It's not a lot of journalistic integrity, is it? I'm
used to them lying. But why give where we are? And why put a picture of my wife and other innocent people? There's other friends of us. They got so much hassle. They went home crying.
Do you know who the journalists are? Do you know their names? Can you give their names?
I'm not allowed to say their names, Rob.
Okay.
I'll be remarked.
I see.
So basically, this happens, and one of the other couples they put in the paper, a picture of just 2 people, my wife's friend. They then had to go home crying because then the local papers where they live were picking up that they were there. And they're getting called far right and allegations that they might be funding the far right. Just all bullshit. Everything's bullshit. So when I saw the story, you have to understand that the Daily Mail have previously come to my holiday and they've spent a week. So they probably booked in next week, hoping to get pictures of me having beers. When I'm with my kids, I don't have a beer. So all they got for the same week was me having water, sitting with my family. I don't need just sitting by a sunbed.
I've never seen you drink a beer. You've never had a beer with me, which I'm a little upset about. But I thought, before I met you, I thought this guy's going to just be great to have a beer with.
Yeah.
Then I met you, I was like, wait, he doesn't even drink. And I'm like, oh, wow, I guess it's a good thing. But I actually like to have a beer on occasion. So, well.
But they goes.
We can have a glass of Coke or something.
I prefer a Coke Zero.
Yeah. Oh, I know you like the Coke Zeros.
I don't like beer. I never have. But so they go and do this. Took pictures of my family. So I'm trying to ring them and message them. And you know what? It wasn't just that. There was an Antifa extremist who was hired to go to my family's home to deliver legal papers. You've seen in the film Silence.
Yeah.
Daily Mail were with him. They went to my family's home with an extremist. These are moments that I'm meant to come out of the house probably and kill him or beat him up. And then they've got their little shots that they're waiting for. But they've targeted continually.
You're saying you're hoping they incite you to do that.
That's what they're doing.
I mean, they're hoping to incite you to do that.
Something happens.
You do something crazy.
They're hoping something crazy happens and they come. But why are they travelling to a family home with an extremist?
It's really...
You could make it up. It's not journalism. So when they done this, I was devastated. They ruined my holiday. Kids were upset. And I needed that holiday. So I was like, kids. So I had to fuck off. I flew to Valencia. So I flew on my own. I was gutted, man. And I just felt, I didn't know how they could do that. The lie. They put me as the instigator of the riots. But that's an attack. So people understand that's a coordinated attack. And the reason they give the location, the reason they give the wife is because it's a coordinated attack. It's not about journalism. Yeah. It's about pressure. They knew my profile was rising again and they got to stop it. So then what I did is I sent our teams to their houses because I said, I'm going to question them.
You're a journalist. Why shouldn't you be?
I'm going to find them and I'm going to question them. So I need to check that the addresses are right. So the surveillance team's got pictures of everyone coming out of the addresses and in the pictures with them. One of them's their daughter, one of them's their wife. So what I did is I cut out the images of the daughter and the wife. So in what I posted, I said, you didn't cut out the pictures of my family. But just to let your family know, I will never share any images of them. And I'm never going to share out where they live. I know what it's like.
I saw that.
Because when the Daily Mail when the Daily Mail went with the red-headed extremists to my family's home, we had to move out of the house the next day because they live streamed the house. Now, my kids have lived in 8 different houses. They're probably moving again now. They like their bedrooms. They never went back to their bedrooms. All this shit pisses me off because I just think it's not a game. Do you know what I mean? It's not a game. You've put me as the poster boy for riots. You've told all the Muslims. And that heightens tensions and threats. And my kids are reading it all. So I got pictures of them and then I messaged them. And then I put the picture up on my Twitter and anyone can read it. And it just says, I'm coming to find you with a camera. You're going to have to, I'm doing a news piece on you. So I'm in prison. Police come and question me when I'm in there. And for harassment, they didn't question me for fear of violence because that's a serious charge. They just question me under basic harassment. Now that, you have a 6-month time window to charge you. So they come and question me, 6 months went, didn't charge me. So I thought, that's gone. Which I found it saying, when the blokes interview me, wait till I get this interview. It's fucking mental. It's going to go viral. It's going to go viral.
Yeah.
The copper shouldn't be a copper. He was terrified. Maybe he believes all the bullshit he reads about me, but he was terrified. And then he's saying to me, so you think it's all right, do you? To go and take pictures of his family? I was sitting there. What case are you on, bruv? Have you done any research on this case? They hadn't. They had one picture. So the Daily Mail article is 6 pages. They just had the front page. So I'm looking at him. They've gone and took pictures of my family and they've put them in the biggest English read newspaper in the world. 10 million views you've got on. And you're here nicking me because I posted a picture not of his family.
It's unbelievable. It's like,
and then
bizarre.
The more he went on, I said, have you fucking read the article? You know there's more than this. He didn't. So now they've charged me. So I get told I'm getting out of jail 4 months early on the Wednesday. I get taken to this unit in the morning where I go on my own. I'm sitting in there. And then an officer walks in and says, police are here. I said, and I told all the officers, they won't let me over. They'll come for me again. I don't know what they're coming.
It looks like you're right.
And do you know, it's a worry. Do you know that sort of, you live with that? And I sort of thought. And then they come in and they said, we're charging you. I said, what are you charging me for? They said, you're in court on the 5th of June. I thought, okay, what for? And then they read it out. So I read the evidence. I said, listen, you're a copper. I read the evidence. Your evidence against me is that I said to him, I'm going to come and question him with a camera. And that I cut out the images of his wife and his kid.
It really is. It's insane that this government even allows this to happen.
But what it is, the purpose of that, process is the punishment. $5,000 I've spent so far. Not just that. If they kept it in the magistrate's court, I'll go to jail anyway because the judge would rule with them. But this carries a 10-year sentence. So they've upped it to fear of violence.
It's unbelievable.
Now, what it is, the media for so long, like with Trump, what I should have done, I should have gone and got Christopher Steele. Like with Trump, we need citizen journalists active everywhere, who chase these liars down. That's what's needed. So, and that's what I usually do with journalists when they lie about me. I go find them and that. But the Daily Mail act as a weapon for the government because literally the government blame the EDL and they blame the far right. Now there's no truth in it. We now know that. The Daily Mail travel over to my family holiday and they frame me as the man of the riots because that's what the government are doing. That all goes chaotic. I then just literally turn the camera around. That's all I've done. They run around their cameras, I turn it around, put it on them.
Right. Well, it's only fair. It's only fair.
It's obviously not, mate.
Yeah. Not for you.
But the thing is, the Crown
Tommy
Prosecution, this is what people need to understand. So the Crown Prosecution Service is supposed to act independently. So the police don't charge you. It goes to an independent body who assess the evidence. What have they assessed? The fuck have
that Daily Mail article. I wonder what side they're leaning.
Say at the time. So direct messages. I wrote this bloke 10 direct messages.
Yeah.
And they said, I'm coming with my camera. I'm coming to your door. They just used the one, I'm coming to your door.
Yeah.
So you told him you're coming to his
I
door.
took the whole thing out of context.
You said you're coming to his door.
Yeah.
I thought, yeah. And the thing when I was sending the messages, I was saying, I don't want to come to your door.
Mm-hmm.
You need to ring me, lads. I still can't. I face jail again for that now.
I want to do a little bit of a speed round here because we're in the interest of time, but it's a lot of things I want to ask you about. But Hawksmoor Steakhouse recently, you were asked to leave Hawksmoor Steakhouse. Is that in London?
That's in London. You got some in America as well, you know.
Yeah, there's one in New York City I saw after the incident occurred. What happened exactly and what's going on with that? What do you plan to do about it?
So I sat down, 5 friends. It's quite strange that this happened because the staff were very happy taking photos.
Mm-hmm.
I now know why. I think I know why it happened. But we sat down. We'd had our first drink. We'd had our star, and then the manager came over and said, "Got to ask you to leave, lads." I said, "What do you mean? What for?" Some people in here feel uncomfortable that you're here. Tell them to leave. No. But the thing is, I don't think anyone did feel uncomfortable because everyone was nice. And we were sat down the end on our own. So I looked up on...
And then some of the staff asked to take a picture with you and stuff?
Yeah. I've had... Do you know how many emails I've got from their staff?
Yeah.
I've got loads of emails from their staff.
Really?
So, yeah. But they...
That's not going to go well for them, doesn't it?
No, and I don't know if I want to hop the lads up because I can't show their name, but...
Well, I mean, I don't think it's going to go well for the restaurant.
Oh, no, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not because, basically, there's a lot of people that agree with me.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to put a statement on your front door and tell people who's allowed in and who's not allowed. Because if people are pro-free speech or they're against Islamic backgrounds or they tell the truth about Islam, but what is it that I say? Which I will... What was his name? Will? I will find him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I will find... We've started a petition against him. But it was embarrassing. We're sitting there and then we get asked to leave. And do you know what I think? If there was a bunch of gay people there, you wouldn't have told them to leave.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of black people there wouldn't have been told to leave. A bunch of Muslim extremists would have been told to leave. The IRA could be sat there, they wouldn't be told to leave.
Anything other than white men.
Anything that other than a straight white man. And someone who discusses the open border policies and the problems from it.
Mm-hmm.
But it frustrated me. So we started a campaign against them and yeah, it's not looking good.
You talked about, let's talk a little bit more about politics. There's been quite a surge in reform while you were in. You have extended the olive branch to reform. You've extended the olive branch to Nigel Farage, and you've consistently gotten rebuked by Nigel Farage. He actually alleged some serious allegations against you that weren't true, that we now know that there's absolutely said you had assaulted a woman or been arrested for assaulting a woman.
He said, do you know what? That pissed me off because I'm sat in a cell and my ex-wife had to put a statement out because then my kids are going to school.
Yeah.
It just pissed me off because it's like, he said, I've got a conviction for violence against women.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't. You're meant to be the leader of a political party. Do you know because he was unhappy about Kemi Badenoch, who made a comment about Reform's membership.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd done a big song and dance about how bad it was that she lied.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 weeks later, he's calling me a woman beater.
Mm-hmm.
It upset me. And it upset me that my ex-wife had to sit and write that statement.
Yeah, she shouldn't have had to do that.
It shouldn't have happened. But then with Nigel, I want what's best for Great Britain.
I was going to ask you, where do you fall now? Have you picked anybody that you're definitely supporting now? Are you still in Reform's corner? Where are you at with that?
The momentum's there. It didn't have to be Reform, and it didn't have to be Nigel Farage. So he should realise that.
Mm-hmm.
Stop thinking it's about him because it's not.
Mm-hmm.
We've all been betrayed. The country's been betrayed. It started with Modi. The populism started with Modi in India.
Mm-hmm.
Trump went to Bolsonaro.
Mm-hmm.
And we're seeing it sweeping across Europe. And I've been waiting so long. And I thought to get to the point of people ready to vote in that way and ready to rise, they need to be educated and know what's going on. So I saw my path as journalism. Let's get the documentaries, let's show people what's happening, let's do the short videos, and that will sway the public.
Mm-hmm.
Nigel, with Reform, so at the minute, the public are so pissed off at the Labour Party because of everything they're doing. They're pissed off at the Conservatives who were in power for 14 years and done fuck all either. The Conservatives are conservative in name only. There's no Conservatives in the party.
Right.
You know,
It's not like American Conservatives.
No, they're Liberals.
Oh.
They're Liberals.
Yeah.
They're the biggest open border policy we've seen.
Yeah.
So they're all part of the same club. They just hand the baton over. So Rishi Sunak, who was Prime Minister, he just hands it back over to Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer comes in and does exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
They're just the same. So Nigel comes along. The public are angry, and I've noticed over the last 2 years, even more so now I've come out of prison, it's good for me to see. But I've noticed the change in the public opinion. You saw it when we went for a walk through Benidorm.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, and that kind of leads me into my next question. There has been quite a change. Some of the people who used to be very left have actually started to swing your way quite a bit. I'm going to play this clip for you. I recently spoke with a guy named Matt Goodwin, who's a prominent voice. He's a commentator on GB News now. He used to be in direct opposition to you. In fact, you and he have a history together.
Did you see the footage of me and him?
Yeah, I did. But I'm going to play this clip for you now, and I'll come back and ask you about it.
In some respects, we're quite similar, so I understand where he's come from. Anyway, my line on Tommy Robinson has always been that had the state and had the establishment listened to what he was saying when he first emerged in 2009,
Mm-hmm.
when he set up the English Defence League, when he talked about the rape gangs, when he talked about Islamist extremism, and when he talked about parts of the state being complicit in some of that, and we now see police officers being arrested for some of that, then I think we would have avoided some of the problems that we ran into as a society over the last decade.
So you just saw that clip. Matt Goodwin says if politicians in the UK, people in authority in the UK had actually listened to you back when you started first speaking out, then your society would be a lot different now, be a lot more positive for you guys. What do you think about that? A guy like Matt Goodwin, how far along he's come in how he's evolved in his thinking?
I think Matt Goodwin will go on to be one of the most prominent figures in the UK.
Really?
I think he will, yeah. So Matt Goodwin, I remember sitting next to him on a talk show, but he was a university lecturer,
Mm-hmm.
if I remember rightly.
Yeah, he was. He's a
Academic.
academic guy.
He couldn't have spoke about it, even if he wanted to. That was the atmosphere.
He said as much. He said if I had said the things I would be Tommy Robinson now. They would treated him exactly like they treat you.
Yeah, so he couldn't. But what do I think? So at first, when these people started doing this,
Mm-hmm.
because remember, to get to the point where everyone can have these discussions,
Mm-hmm.
not just me, there's a hell of a lot of us who have been attacked. Prison, beaten up, slandered, smeared, lost jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the people who were part of the attacking are now all talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I felt a bit bitter. But then I thought I need to grow up, because what have we called for? We want everyone to talk about it. And I've wanted them to talk about it for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I've always said, and it takes the heat off us if everyone's talking about it. So I think that's what I think about Matt Goodwin. I think Matt will go on to be one of those prominent figures in the UK.
I actually thought he was very candid. I thought he was very honest. I actually liked
But
him. I liked him.
He wasn't bad when he was on the opposite side.
Mm-hmm.
He was all right then.
Yeah.
So, but with Nigel, I just don't get it, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I don't get why he keeps attacking us.
Yeah.
And
He could just not mention you.
He does-
but he insists on throwing you under the bus every
which
chance
is
he
an
gets.
establishment move.
Yeah.
That's an establishment move.
Yeah.
He's actually he when I was in prison, he done more to attack me and discredit me being able to get out than anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if maybe Nigel, I've never met him. Maybe he's bought into the media portrayal. He says the media are wrong about him.
Mm-hmm.
He should know they lie. Maybe he's bought into it. I still see him sitting there on ITV News, so I don't think he gets it.
You know what's odd to me is he was asked a couple of times about one of his financiers who had a conviction, a guy named George Cottrell. And there was another former member of Parliament, I believe, who had a conviction.
No,
And
not former member. One of his sitting MPs volleyed a woman in the head and went to jail.
Times today is carrying a story about one of your aides and colleagues, George Cottrell, who has a conviction for wire fraud in the America and has been named in another criminal investigation in Montenegro. Do you want him by your side on the campaign trail?
I firstly always stand by my friends. And secondly, there is a thing called Christian forgiveness. If people get convicted of something or do something wrong, well, they have another chance in life to go on and prove themselves.
Mr. Farage, thank you.
If in a country that believes in Christian forgiveness, he is not a good example to young tearaways, I don't know what it is. Do you believe in Christian forgiveness?
everyone believes in redemption. Everyone should have second chances.
Is he not a very good example?
Nigel, that is not the question I'm asking.
Would you accept Robinson as a member of your party? You kept over association with him last time.
Robinson has been to prison many, many times for many, many things. Mortgage fraud, passport problems, you name it. He's got his own campaign. We're a political party aiming to win the next general election. He's not what we need.
Okay, so he was asked about both of those folks, and his response was, from when the newscaster asked him, does he still support them? His response was, they both deserve Christian forgiveness. Don't they deserve Christian forgiveness? When it comes to Tommy Robinson, you ask him to say, what doesn't Tommy Robinson deserve Christian forgiveness?
He lists my criminal record, which is ridiculous. Pathetic little lawfare stuff. He says he's a criminal. Do you know, I don't want to get into I don't want to come out and spend my time on podcasts slagging him off.
Right, but I get it. It's hard not to.
No,
especially when guys like me are asking you about it.
It's hard not to because he's hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
He hurt my feelings. He hurt my family. I think that Nigel would last 2 seconds in my shoes. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I think Nigel, you haven't faced anything. When he come out about the banks shutting his bank account, well, they've done that to us in 2008, mate. Yeah. Try living how we live. Mm-hmm. Try walking through Luton Town. Nigel has £500,000 security team with him. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Try sitting in a restaurant with your kids when people want to stab you. Mm-hmm. Try that for talking about these issues. So I don't think that. So when he attacks us, I feel upset by it. Mm-hmm. And but at the same time, the momentum's with reform. Mm-hmm. Now I want what's best for Britain.
Yeah. Well, right now it looks like that's the only horse in the game.
Nigel needs to be pushed because Nigel, look, reform, and he's being pushed because reform before the election. Their policy for immigration was 1 in, 1 out. Mm-hmm. 500,000 Brits left last year. So they're bringing 500,000 who? Africans?
Yeah.
Pakistanis? So that was his policy. He's not for mass deportations. He said that. His number 2 said they don't care about demographic replacement. Mm-hmm. Well, we do.
Yeah.
By 2041, white English are going to be a minority in our country.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, I'd care about Nigerian. If Nigerians become minority to white people, mm-hmm. We're white, British, English people. Mm. We should not be a minority.
Right.
Yeah. That's it.
You don't see it happen the other way around. You don't see, in Middle Eastern countries, African countries, you don't see white people coming in and, driving them out, overcoming the population.
Nigel doesn't care about that. I think he made a comment about Shamina Begum. He made a comment. I watched it just since I've gone out because it was when I was in jail. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't get it. He said by 2050, the Islamic community is going to be so big in the UK that we need to really work with Islam.
No.
That's why we need to stop it, Nigel.
Yeah. There's no working with Islam.
That's why we stop it.
No.
Everything you've just said, you don't get it. And why don't you get it? He's got Zia Yusuf, a Muslim, as his chairman. He's got another job now. But I don't know. I still think that the public are behind reform. There's a hell of all the people in reform are great people. Do you know they banned their own councillors from talking about me? Mm-hmm. Like, you're meant to be the free speech party. You're meant to be the difference. Mm-hmm. You're not meant to just be the Tory party, your new Tory party. Mm-hmm. And I think Nigel still thinks we're in an era where you can't be bold.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think they feel like like the rest of the parties now, they have to somewhat depend on that large voting bloc of Muslims. And so if they...
Nigel's preparing for that, but Nigel, right, we need you to tackle that. Mm-hmm. You're meant to be the party that tackles the Islamisation of Great Britain mm-hmm. because we're losing our country. Yeah, he's just changed the 2 benefit. He said, because we had a rule put in that you don't get benefits for more than 2 children. Mm-hmm. Because Muslims, my local imam's got 14 kids with 3 women. Mm. They've all got a house each and we all pay for their kids. Yeah. So the Conservatives brought that in. That's true. The Conservatives brought that in and he's just reversed it. But that's one of the only things that would have addressed the Muslim birth rate.
Oh, I saw one statistic, 78% of Muslim women don't work and are supported by or state funded. They have 6 to 8 kids, all state funded. 63%, which sounds extreme to me. You can tell me if this sounds right. 63% of Muslims in general don't work. Does that sound?
I think it was 50. I think it was. I thought it was 50%.
Yeah, okay.
But did you see
the large population?
See the report that come out of Denmark, which shows the parents who come in as refugees, and it shows the children. Yeah, even though they're being educated. There's no difference. So it's not like they're coming in and their children doing well. Mm-hmm. Children go on to do nothing, be a drain on society. So we keep getting told that immigration is great for us. No, it's not. Mm-hmm. Now, certain controlled immigration is good for the country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people who want to assimilate. I agree.
immigration is not good.
So let me ask you this. A lot of things happening for you. I know you got a lot of things coming up. I know you got your YouTube channel back, which I think is good. What is next for Tommy Robinson? Are you gonna? A lot of people say, is he gonna run for office? We'd love to see him run for office. What do you want to do? What do you see happening in your life?
I'm going to go to bed.
Not with me. Not in this room. You're not.
Go to bed. I haven't slept for 10 days. Literally. I mean, literally. I was just non-stop. So there's a big bed I've booked next to the pool. And that's what's next. Now, what's next? I still see my position. I want to unify and unite Britain.
Yeah.
And I think our last 3 demonstrations.
That's an admirable goal, I think.
And I want to unite the people who wouldn't have even been aware that we're for them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from a town called Luton Town.
Mm-hmm.
Most of my best mates are sons of immigrants. We need and they're all proud to be English and British. The Islamic community is the problem. It doesn't work. It's like mixing oil and water. And I want to unite everyone. And that doesn't mean that I don't want to unite some Muslims that are good lads. But we're in trouble. And I like to use my journalism to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I used to get a real buzz off changing people's opinions.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got deplatformed, it hit me because I thought...
Well, your journalism is very powerful. That's why you got deplatformed.
Yeah, and I thought I'm making the best documentaries I've ever made.
Oh.
They're made for Britain.
Your documentaries are first class.
And no one was seeing them. So, what's next? So what? I don't know what's next, because I'm going to jail in October.
I think
back on trial in July.
I think the sky's the limit for you, man. Right now, with I think the momentum's in your corner. I think it's swinging your direction now.
I know there's one thing. It's like when they just lock me up, and I know the intention of it, and they've done it since 2009. I just think, you stupid prick. It doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
You make me more angry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming out and I'm going for you.
Mm-hmm. But it's amazing they haven't gotten that. I think the rest of us kind of see that.
See that?
Especially those of us who know you. We know you're not going to quit.
Oh, I'm tracking you down. You're going to have a camera in your face.
Yeah. Make sure you caveat that when you say you're tracking them down, you mean with a camera.
Because I'll get another nick.
Yeah, you get another charge.
The Labour Party, who in the towns and cities accommodated the rape of a generation outdoors.
Yeah.
Why? People need to know why. And if you're one of those Labour politicians and you had dirty hands, there's a lot of you. In the coming weeks, you're going to be famous, mate.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm going to find you. And that's why they hate me. And they hate me, and I probably don't do myself any favour. My mum keeps saying, stop poking the bear.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm not poking him, I'm stabbing him. I'm stabbing him.
Yeah.
I'm of the... I think I'm in a good position. My pull's always the family. My pull's always the family. Because I enjoy what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm good at what I do.
I think you are.
But I also think that if we don't unite now, we're not going to save Britain. We've probably got 2 elections. With a demographical change to that country. It's going to be irreparable. It's already now. People say now we can't win. We could win with direct democracy. I think we should have direct democracy. Do you want to fund the war in Ukraine? No. Okay, don't fund it. Do you want mass open border immigration? No. They used to talk about direct democracy all the time.
Yeah, but don't they always say it turns into mob rule? If you have direct democracy, it always turns into mob.
But they always sold it, and they always said they wanted it until we had technology that can do it. Yeah. Now, for big issues,
I like a republic like we have in America. I think a republic is the best.
I think for big issues, they should put it as a republic.
No.
For Ukraine, do you want to fund Ukraine? No. Do you want immigration? No.
No.
The majority of the people in the UK, the majority of the British public, have continually said they don't want mass immigration for 30 years.
Yeah.
Last year they brought 1 million in. The Tory party said they were going to bring it down to tens of thousands. They brought 1 million in. Now, I don't really think Americans watching this, do any of you understand what's happened to you? Paris is not Paris, guys. Okay? London is not London. You'll come to London, you won't meet an English person. If you go to a city or a country, you want to experience their culture. Go to Paris. In fact, Paris, Berlin, London, if you just got picked up and dropped off, blindfolded, you wouldn't even know where you are. What a shit state of affairs. Do you know, I went to Paris.
So Minnesota is coming like that.
It's going to spread. America, that's why I went with the warning to America. You've got a big, beautiful nation. Stop it. Stop it now. You have to stop it. It's going to become so powerful. The numbers grow so quick. They organise themselves in a military fashion. You know, there's 7 swing states. Well, if those Muslim communities in there can swing the state, Trump, because then both parties will bow to them.
Yeah.
But it's like, so what's next for me? I'm going to have a little break because I come out. I promised myself in jail.
You need a break.
Slow down a little bit. Come out. They give me this court date. I had to get the documentary made. Come here. I'm happy with David. I'm going to take the kids away, man.
He's almost as big as Don Keith, Patrick.
Yeah, I'm glad everyone knows that because I just every go builders, mate. I stand next to people. They're all giants.
Yeah.
I'm small.
Yeah.
But I look like I'm the size of your socks. But I'm standing next to him. I don't want to share.
He is a big guy.
I don't even want to share this photo.
He's a big guy. He is almost as. I didn't know he was so big. I didn't know he's big.
I didn't want to share.
And he works out. You can tell he works out because I asked him. I said, "Do you work?" I said, "I know you work out." He said, "Yeah, I work."
Everyone who's successful works out.
Yeah. I think it says something about people. You know,
he's
drive, determination.
He's a great warrior. He's great. He's very nice.
I really like him.
Joe, for me, I've come here. It's a good thing for me because they put me in jail, and when it comes to the 1st of January, I just laughed, man. When I heard Elon Musk shared the film, and I heard he pinned free Tom Thompson.
Oh God!
At that moment, I knew it's worth it.
Yeah.
And because I said this to my kids, I said, if we get to 10 million views, if I can get 10 million people to see that the courts are just a weapon, if I can do that, and then my son come on a visit, he said, "Dad, you're on like 130 million views."
Yeah.
I said, yeah. But I think that at that moment, I knew. Yeah, it was good.
Well, and then I got to catch a plane, so we got to end this. But man, I want to thank you because, you've been a blessing to me. You've really, the way you've embraced me and your team's embraced me.
We had a good week, didn't we?
Oh my God!
Do you want to tell a story?
Yeah.
I watched a video from Don years ago, and Don's wife's contacted. Now, Don tried to contact me.
Yeah.
And I think I ignored it.
Yeah, you ignored me.
And a pretty blonde bird contacted me. So I replied, "Coming over for it."
Yeah. So you responded to her, you didn't respond to me.
And I met Don and his wife, who are probably 2 of the nicest people I've ever met.
Oh, thank you, man.
He was coming to just meet us for half hour for a chat.
Yeah, we're just going to have a holiday. We're going to see all the crazy tourist sites. And
I think I'll probably rang you the day before because I changed like this year.
Yes.
So I rang the day before, so can't do it. Going to Scotland, covering a story. Do you know what? Why don't you come with us?
For a week? Why don't you do a week with Tommy Robbins?
Yeah, why don't you do a week? Why don't you come? I'm busy for a week. Why don't you just come for the week? And then we went up to Scotland, and there was a horrific story of a
Chris Donald.
Yeah, 15-year-old.
Never forget it.
15-year-old Scottish kid who was taken off the streets by 5 Pakistanis, butchered, stabbed, set on fire, murdered because he was white.
It was the first religiously motivated hate crime in Scotland.
It didn't even make the papers in the UK. Yeah, it didn't even make the papers. So we went out to cover that story. Then we went Wales. We were busy, weren't we?
And we went to Spain, we went to Portugal, we went to Canada. We're here in the Bahamas. We've had quite a ride, dude. It's been a great year. And I thank you, man, because you have opened my eyes to, because I think a lot of people, most citizens are worried or care only about their own country. And I love America, and I'm Trump, everything's going on with Biden. I'm so concerned. But then you really helped to open my eyes to the fact that there are other Westerners who are really suffering.
I mean, who
are people just like we are in America, and you really, and the welcome I've gotten from the people of Great Britain. It's been very emotional for me. I have to tell you, I owe that all to you. So, thank you.
And when J.D. Vance stood in Munich and spoke about the enemy within for free speech, you know what that means to us? Because we're under attack by our own government. There's a war going on.
Yeah.
And it's David versus Goliath.
It's good versus evil, 100%.
And in steps Trump. In steps J.D.
That's what a blessing, man. That's only God. That's only God.
And that ripple, I've got my YouTube channel back. Yeah. That's from that. It has Dana White, who's now in charge of Facebook. I had one point.
Dana White
is now.
Tell me, Mark Zuckerberg?
No. So Mark Zuckerberg. And then what they've done is they put Nick Clegg, who is a liberal politician from the UK, they put him in charge of communications. First thing he done was got rid of me. Yeah. Delete my Never done anything wrong.
Yeah.
I had 1.3 million followers. They didn't just get rid of me. I made a documentary called Panodrama, which exposed the BBC as fake news.
Mm-hmm.
They deleted me straight away, and they made my name a figure of hate. I'm a dangerous individual. Look at me. Fucking, I'm the same size as Don's socks. But I'm a dangerous individual. Do you know when I looked at, because I didn't know any of this. So when I looked at who they put me up.
Yeah.
Fucking, the geezer killed 5,000 people in a genocide.
Yeah.
There's him, and then there's Tommy Robinson. What have I done? I still find it all mad. Even all the prison sentences.
Oh man.
What have I actually done? I just speak about Islam and honestly about the problems.
No.
But so Dana White took over, and
is this UFC Dana White?
yeah,
Really?
which is great because free speech. So when he got put in by Trump,
Uh-huh.
when Zuckerberg, straight after the election, he put Dana White in. So I thought, right, and we go back for free speech on Facebook.
Yeah. I don't know how I don't know this already.
My Facebook page was more engaged. It was free. It was all of the other political parties joined together.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they hate me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was bigger than all of them together. It was the most engaged page in Britain.
Wow.
So for me to get my news out, and then this is what terrified them, because I went straight past their bullshit, straight past the mainstream media, straight into the phones in people's languages. They're lying to you. Here's what's happening. They then took back control through big tech after Trump's election. Trump's election was a shock for them.
Yeah.
They then took back control, and now Trump's got it. Zuckerberg, Dana White, please give me back my channel, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Give me back my channel and watch me lead the revolution in Britain, right? Not just Britain, but Europe. I've sat, remember, I've been in this for 15 years.
Yeah.
There's been highs, there's been lows. It was a lonely place
Mm-hmm.
in those first 5 years, especially. Because there was not one other person talking about Islam.
Yeah.
I sit there now. There's a lot of people.
Mm.
So whilst we were in a bad situation, the country's awake, it's ready. When I was standing on stages and I went into Europe, we took the English Defence League and we went to the European Defence League. We went into Denmark, 5,000 Muslims.
Mm-hmm.
It was mad. We went across Europe. Europe wasn't ready. They're ready now.
Mm.
The population ready. There's change coming.
Tommy Robinson.
Thanks, Tom, man.
Thank you, brother. I love
Cheers,
you, man. You take care of yourself.
Cheers, man.
Appreciate it. Go get some sleep, man.
I am, mate. Now I'm going to go.
And thank you all for watching The Real Beef.
The real beef with
The Real Beef.
Let me see. I showed him your triceps.
I
Look
should-
at the size of that.
Oh,
Look.
oh, no.
Look at the size of that.
There we go. I probably won't air that. But we'll see.
They're the best bits.
Cool, brother. That was awesome, man.
I weren't too bad, though.
No, you did great, man. Oh, shit. I forgot to hit record.
Oh, fuck off.
Oh, God. It's hilarious.